Oh, why, hello, and welcome to issue 652 of Geek in the City Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I'm one of your other hosts, Binarita.
And I'm your other host, Cable Hashtani.
Sorry about that. I thought we were getting an intro first. I was
I
wrong.
thought you turned it off.
I turned it off for when we were doing the commentaries, and I thought I had turned it back on. I was wrong.
Well, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da!
How's everybody doing? I'm also posting to all the things while we're going.
I knew I forgot to do something today.
I need to find a way to automate this sucker.
That'd be nice. I'm sure there's a way.
There is.
Clearly, we're all a little discombobulated today.
Yes.
I think everyone's been discombobulated since last Friday.
That's probably a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, that tracks for sure.
The only kind of bets I make are the safe ones. Every time I make risky ones, they blow up in my face.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the time I've made like a good risky bet, and it's only one time. And that was at the 2019 STLV, the only Star Trek Vegas I've ever gone to. And I had like $10 on me, and I'd always wanted to do this. I walked by the craps table and put $10 on Snake Eyes. Two things happened. A, it landed on Snake Eyes and I made $100, and B, everyone at that table fucking hated me because craps players are a very superstitious lot, and I ruined the luck for everyone. So I took my chips and ran. It's like, oh shit.
Smart.
Yeah. But that's it. That's the only time I ever did, I think. Woo. So yeah, it's been rough for sure. Yeah.
It's not good, friends.
No, I know we're going to talk a little bit, and I guess I'd want to give options, help, or anything instead of just railing and ranting.
Well, let's say this. Tonight on the show, we're going to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now
Hello
the
there.
series is over. Yes. Hello there.
Hello there.
We're going to talk about a couple episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and we're probably going to talk a little more about the Portland Horror Film Fest, which starts tomorrow, Wednesday, here in Portland.
Today for podcast listeners.
This is the other big film fest that Gwen and Brian run. Gwen and Brian Callahan. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, we kind of agreed that we wanted to start off the show talking about the SCOTUS decision from last week concerning Roe versus Wade. I feel like
to start.
It's that thing where like everyone knew it was fucking coming, but it doesn't make it any less infuriating. It wasn't like we were like, wow, that came out of nowhere. They're like, no, we knew.
Yeah, but no, that's true. Like I think it's a rare occurrence that we know ahead of time when someone's going to do something shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people were like, or I should let me back up. I listened to a lot of interviews with people who work at different healthcare and women's health clinics, talking about how like even though they knew it was coming, it still like just really floored them on Friday. Like there's the idea that you know that it's going to happen, and then the reality of it is totally different.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we all fucking warned you around 2016, and we were told to calm down. It would never happen, but like, no, it was gonna fucking happen.
I guess if anything, I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get what you mean for sure.
I don't know. Maybe they were waiting to see if they would get any more conservative judges during the current term, but Trump isn't president anymore, so that's sort of like, okay, well, I guess this is what we have. Now let's burn it all down.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can go on and on about like should these things even be legal? Since there's a whole argument, like 3 of the fucking judges that got appointed in the last 2-3 years, or whatever, like literally lied under oath. So like, do we get them for perjury? Yeah, we could. They're not gonna.
I do appreciate that Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez did put out a point-by-point plan of things that could be done by the people who are in elected office to mitigate all of this and change a lot of it. And they're great ideas, and I don't wish her luck. That's wrong. I hope that people follow her lead. I think she is still, while I still classify her as she's a politician like all politicians, I do appreciate that she still carries with her she lets her anger of being someone who is not in power drive the goals that she wants for now that she is in a position of power. So she's still trying to do it. I've read articles or interviews that she's given where she's real close to just going, I just want to say fuck it and move to a farm upstate and never get into politics again.
Right. Yeah, I could totally not fault her for doing that.
No, I don't either. So I do appreciate that. I am trying to. I think the things that I want to say are mostly geared towards our listeners. I don't know how to say don't give up hope or don't. It's always darkest before the dawn or anything like that. Because I have no idea. The way I forecast things, it's usually doom and gloom. So I'm trying not to do that for a case and instead encourage people to talk to one another and acknowledge the fact that you have a multitude of emotions and there's nothing wrong with any of that. And to definitely to men to talk to other men, because by default, a lot of men just don't listen to women.
What?
Yeah. So please talk to men, especially when you hear them talking about this in ways that are not okay. Even if it's just lightly uninformed all the way to utter bullshit, just talk to them. I would also encourage people, don't get into... We're going to be goaded. We're going to continue to be goaded to get into arguments that we cannot win because both sides have completely different viewpoints that do not overlap, and there is not room to have a discussion or an argument or a debate where ideas will be changed or exchanged. I'm an atheist. There is no way I can have a conversation with an evangelical fundamentalist, because we disagree at the outset that there is a God.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't be swayed by arguments of religion, and they can't be swayed by anything else but.
Well, and the infuriating thing is that, in the United States, it's only been like one generation since like religious groups didn't care, outside of like the Pope saying you can't get an abortion, you can't get divorced. American Christians did not have a strong opinion one way or the other. It was intentionally politicized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that is also why the argument, trying to argue that point with folks on the front line, isn't going to work. It's all about finding the people who are actually making money or gaining power or both out of this. Those are the people to go after. Those are always the people to go after. And they're at the top, and they are far removed from us.
Yep.
So I have nothing else to contribute to that other than there are no ways to do that except by extra legal means, and I'm not going to discuss any of those on air.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things I'd want to add is that I know a big chunk of our listeners are West Coast people, and we are lucky in that we are in this kind of more progressive, liberal, whatever kind of enclave out here. But that can change really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot get complacent, like at all. Complacency is what got us here. In the it's not, that doesn't matter. It does matter. I know, like, people just do the quips of like, vote, and you get mad at that because you're like, well, I am fucking voting. There is still some truth to that. The majority of Americans don't vote.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just don't.
Mm-hmm.
That allowed, like, the GOP to gerrymander us into this shithole. Texas is not as red as people think.
Nope.
Progressives and what Democrats often win the majority of the votes in Texas, but the way it's gerrymandered, it is nigh impossible for them to actually secure those seats. So saying like, well, just fuck Texas and write those kinds of places off doesn't help.
No, you have to help those states.
Yeah. So if you live in a place like Oregon or Washington or California, who they basically have formed like this alliance too. All the governors are making these, which is great.
The Northwest Abortion Access Fund.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, well, I should let you finish. Sorry.
Well, no, I'm sure that leads right into it. There are ways we can help people that are not going to have access. There is actually a constitutional protection, a state that does not allow abortions or penalizes women, or people who get them. If they travel another state, that's actually not, you can't hold that up in court.
That's true, because it's out of your jurisdiction.
Well, and it's also more than that. It's, if you are in another state, you cannot be held liable for the laws of the state you came from. You are under the rule of the state you are in,
right.
as I read it. But I am not only not an attorney, I'm definitely not a fucking constitutional attorney. This is just as it has been explained to me. So I know there are a lot of like legit groups out there that are going to start basically helping people who need it to get to locations that allow it. I've even seen, like, I wish I could bring it up now. I forgot it. There's literally like a voluntary pilot nonprofit. It's like, if you are a pilot and can fly and are willing to donate your time to fly people to states that need help, please sign up.
Wow, I hadn't heard about the pilot thing, but the Northwest Abortion Access Fund is an organization that is helping with everything, including like travel and travel costs to get you to states.
I think that, yeah. As much as our and myself included, the knee-jerk reaction was to dump like all of our available funds that we could donate to like Planned Parenthood. I've learned more that financially they're doing fine. There are a lot of smaller regional or tribal organizations or organizations that help minorities, Latino women, Black women that maybe are nowhere near a Planned Parenthood. Like they can't get to one, but they have small regional services. Those are the ones that need help. So it's going to take some work on your part, but like look for reputable, legitimate, smaller services in your area that are really like a boots on the ground doing work. And I'm not saying don't help Planned Parenthood. What I'm saying is like, in the grand scheme of things, they're doing okay.
Planned Parenthood has actually said, they actually said last weekend, it's like, we're fine. Donate to these places.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
All right. So there's the Center for Reproductive Rights, which is a organization of lawyers and advocates, and they get all up in the Supreme Court's face about abortion-related cases, and they've been doing it for quite a long time now. And their website included a write-up of, here are 7 things that you can do right now for abortion rights. And aside from like donating to abortion funds, it's also donating to independent clinics, i.e. like places that are local to you, protesting, as well as social networking as well, or public speaking as well. Again, just be an advocate for the people around you, both physically and digitally. Learning more about abortion laws in your state, but that's probably like a little bit bigger of an undertaking for some people, I'm sure.
Right.
And harass Congress.
Yeah, apparently there is a pseudo bipartisan bill that has already been put together by Murkowski and Collins, I think. And it's not great. It's not perfect, but it's way better than any option there is right now, because there isn't one within Congress or the Senate. This is the only one, and it has a real chance. But you have, even if you live in a state where you know your senators are pro-choice, you know your local rep is still pro-choice, still call them, leave a voicemail, email, write them, like let them know that you want them to fight for this. That does get through. And I know some people like, I'm too nervous to call. You can call after hours and leave a voicemail if you're, or you can send an email. Your voice is always going to be the strongest one. And it kind of goes down in order from there. Voice, voicemail, email, letters.
I bet ResistBot is going to have some messaging about that as well, which is strictly text and email. So, and I believe that bill that they're working on is called the Women's Health Protection Act.
Okay, that sounds right. Yeah. We're getting hit with like one shitty thing after another, and I'm having to tell myself this. Don't rage so hard that you burn yourself out. Like, know whatever your limit is. Like, recognize when you're getting there, and then don't feel bad for being like, I'm out for a couple days.
Full disclosure, I called out tired from work yesterday and listened to a bunch of news stories, and I'm just like quietly sitting in bed crying. It's just so much. It's a lot, and a lot of people are scared and confused and don't really have the resources to find new ways of dealing with this, right now. There are places where they just, because of trigger laws, they just woke up on Friday morning and realized, oh, we can't do our jobs today. There are women who needed our help, and we can no longer help them as of right now, like without warning, essentially. So there's just, I take it one day at a time, I guess.
Yeah, if you need to shut down. Like, don't feel bad if you're like, oh, you know what? I spent all day today watching really fucking trashy reality TV or cooking shows. Like, that's fine. Like, don't do that. Or I spent all day playing fucking video games. Great. Recharge however you recharge. Kind of going back to something Cable said earlier. This is for my dudes out there. I get a lot of people dealing with this with like humor, and that's a perfectly valid way of dealing with it. But now is not the time for like snarky meme jokes or hot takes. Not publicly. I guess if you have friends and they all kind of agree that this is how you blow off steam, that's fine. But like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of like even people that are friends like post things, and I get what they're doing. Like they're blowing off steam. That's how they're dealing with it. But it's in really bad taste to make some of these jokes right now, because I guarantee almost all the women or people with uteruses in your life, this is not something they can laugh at right now. It's just not. No one should be able to laugh at this right now. I get we use humor, but it's yeah. But
I very much support that statement. I feel like I have been saying that since 2016. Not to sound hipster about that, but like I couldn't
REM.
I could never joke about Trump. I could never make those jokes because nothing he did was funny to me. And
yeah.
I do feel as I agree with you that I think that humor needs to be used and we can't lose our sense of humor, but we have to not make jokes about the wrong thing. I think a perfect example of that has been the meme that's been running around social media showing various couples with the tag of "We will adopt your baby." Adoptees have been very hurt and very offended by that being a meme. They're like, I had to go through the adoption process. We're not a fucking punchline, guys.
Right.
I get what you're saying, but this isn't funny.
That's no. I don't see in what world that's funny because it's really insensitive in a lot of different ways. It still ignores bodily autonomy. It implies that like your options are to be adopted or be aborted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one makes me hot. And I'm like, that's not.
No, I saw that too, and I was like, I know where it came from because I know particularly a lot of evangelical groups are like, we'll happen. And by the way, that's almost always springs out of a form of white supremacy and a subtle approach to genocide. That is almost always indigenous, brown people, and black people that get adopted by nice white evangelical couples that then remove them from their cultural identity. That's where that comes from. That position. And I'm not saying if you are a couple that wish to adopt a child, you're coming at it from that. That is not it. But yeah, and that joke's just in poor taste. I mean, that's just it. That feels like punching down. Every joke should never.
It is
not punching up. It's not a joke.
Yeah, the American adoption system has some like pretty terrible roots, and the argument implies that all babies who don't have parents or who are unwanted for whatever reason get adopted and end up in loving homes, and that's not the case either. There are probably millions of kids in the American foster system who are just being churned out and having really horrible experiences. So why would we make more of that?
Yeah. To this day, I still feel like the only like white cis dude who's ever made a decent comedic performance on the issue of abortion has been like George Carlin, because he's pointed the finger at the people who really want control. I've never seen another dude, like, not to turn in one of those things, but like, it's almost impossible to top Carlin, period, when it came to that kind of shit. But yeah, he recorded that like 30 years ago, and it's still like spot on. So
it's unfortunately still irrelevant.
Yeah.
Well, like most things that deny the rights of somebody, it's, just keep going up the ladder, and you'll figure out why.
Yeah, and you know, they're not going to stop here. They're just not. You know, contraception, gay rights, gay marriage. Again, they're already ironing. What is it? Versus Brown. The not
Brown versus
allowing.
the Board of Education.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
yeah. That all of the things are on the table for them now. Um,
I saw a I saw a it was like a screen grab from a Republican senator. I didn't recognize the name, so I'm not really sure what state he was from, but it was that representative, sharing a tweet about what SCOTUS had done, uh, and had tweeted, "Great, now do Plessy versus Ferguson."
Mhm.
right.
And I mean, like, that could have been, like a deep fake or whatever, I suppose. But
It wasn't.
I
It wasn't. No.
guarantee that people feel that way.
It's right up there with the representative that made the comment about this is a great at a Trump with or a rally with Trump that this was a great day in white life, and then her office backpedaled and said, "Oh no, she meant this." It's like, no, she didn't.
No, she
She
didn't.
100% meant whites.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So these are the things that I do very, very strongly recommend. Screen capture. Do not quote tweet. Do not reblog. Screen capture these things and blog them originally. You're not going to get the same hits. You're not going to get the same numbers. That's also not why you're doing them. Share the information. Do not continue to give these people a fucking platform.
No.
Screen cap them and then do what I do. I report these fuckers. I report every single one of them for being hateful, abusive pieces of shit, because they are.
That's a solid tactic,
Yep.
people.
It's sort of. I mean, Twitter still sends me emails that said, "Yeah, they haven't done anything." I'm like, then you're garbage. You're garbage, Twitter.
Well, Twitter is garbage, so
Twitter is garbage.
that's a whole nother conversation.
Mhm.
Oh, I had one more thing that I wanted to add. It's
Please.
really small, and it probably feels like something that doesn't really make a difference. I don't even really think about it most of the time. But the more people do something small, the bigger the impact can be. And I don't take credit for this. I actually learned about it from a different podcaster who was a guest of ours once, but they advertised for something called Tab for a Cause. And it's a browser extension that you put on your computer, and it basically replaces your home screen, like whatever your default or intentionally set home screen is when you open your browser for the first time, or every time you open a new tab, it now creates this. And so every single time you open a tab, it has like a meter count on that. And then and there's ads. They're actually really unobtrusive ads, but they're there. And the whole point is the advertisers pay to be on the tabs, and then the money from those advertisers goes to different organizations. And I guess lately they have started setting up, like, rather than like rotating who the beneficiaries are of these proceeds, you can actually specify which organization you want proceeds to go to based on your activity. And so now they have Tab for reproductive health, and the funds from using this particular version of the Tab for a Cause extension go to the aforementioned Planned Parenthood and Center for Reproductive Rights. So it's just
Cool.
just a tiny thing, and it takes literally zero effort as long as you know how to set up a tab extension.
What's it called? Tab for
a Cause.
I'm just gonna leave a tab open.
Yeah. Set it up, and then just every single time you open a browser and a tab.
Cool. Thank you. Well, take a little quick break and kind of Want to do a reset and come back with nerd shit?
Some more
That sounds like a great thing to
positive
do.
content.
All right. We'll be right back. Didn't you enjoy those wonderful ads?
Boy, did I.
Boy, did I. That's right. I've got to be careful. I listen to it. Well, I listen to it at least twice a week, Behind the Bastards. And some of the times he comes to and from an ad break, they crack me up, and I have to be careful not to use them because we are a different show.
He just would scream products.
Yeah, products. Or when he talks about, like, you know who won't hunt children off the coast of Indonesia.
My favorite is when he hasn't had him on in a long time, but this like comedian who sounds like very like country rednecky.
Billy Wayne Davis.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And like he has like a really funny way of Robert will shout products and then Billy Wayne Davis will insert services, but he says it in such a funny way that amuses me every time. I'm not going to try to recreate it because I cannot.
Yeah, I discovered Billy Wayne Davis through that podcast, and now I've seen some of his stand-up, but he's pretty great.
I have no frame of reference.
That's fine.
I feel like, Cable, like you would either absolutely love this podcast or hate that podcast.
You're probably right.
But this is not an ad for Behind the Bastards. This is a show about us.
Yeah. I'd say, how are you going to spin this? Because you're really rolling right into how they promote their show. A show about
me.
Do we want to do Avatar first and end with Kenobi?
Sure. The episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender that we watched are episodes 17 and 18. Episode 17 is Lake Laogai, and episode 18 is The Earth King. Which kind of rounds out the last of
the Ba Sing Se arc.
Yeah, correct. So Lake Laogai, the episode description is the Avatar gang encounters Jet from season 1 in Ba Sing Se, and he helps them discover the location of Appa. But will they end up discovering something else? A secret of the city?
Yes, they will.
Spoilers, they do.
Oh boy. I have to like skim my notes real quick because I watched the episodes twice, but it's been more than a week since the last time I watched them.
I went back and watched it. I think for me the highlight was the next evolution of Zuko. We're definitely going to get more steps back from him in the future because there's a whole nother season and a half to go. But I feel like the literal and figurative casting aside of the blue mask is a big deal for Zuko.
His alternate persona of the blue demon.
The blue demon, yeah. Blue spirit, I think is what it's called. That was kind of the highlight for me on this one. Go.
I feel like oftentimes the Zuko storyline is the one that interests me more than whatever's going on with the Avatar and company.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
the Appa-do gang.
Yeah. In a weird way, like, Aang is almost like this blank canvas that you have to make interesting for me. Zuko was already like this fucked up painting that you now have to watch get repaired, which makes for a more compelling story for me.
That is weirdly accurate, I think. Definitely the Aang being a blank canvas. He's so young and also he's been, living under a rock essentially for 100 years.
Yeah, it's like how, arguably Luke Skywalker wasn't interesting until, Return of the Jedi. He was always like, I come from nowhere and I have this destiny and I have to learn. And
no, that's a good point. He's kind of just an annoying teenager in
Yeah.
episode 4.
Which again is the whole point of the classical hero's journey and crap, why am I blanking on this name?
The classic Joseph Campbell arc.
Thank you. Hero with a Thousand Faces by Joseph Campbell. That's the whole point, is your hero has to be something that you feel like you can identify with so that you can put yourself in the hero's point of view.
Yeah.
Right. And so for that to work as widely as possible, he has to be as generic as possible.
Right.
Which is why, people that you encounter that identify more with a lot of the secondary or tertiary characters are probably more interesting people because they already have a backstory.
Yeah.
And a personality.
And a motivation. And, so.
Right.
I actually don't have a lot to say about this character. Like, aside from okay, cool, Jet got a little bit of a redemption.
Right before he gets...
Yeah.
Right before he gets killed.
Remember, do we know for sure he dies?
The implication is that he died.
His friend Mercy kills him, right?
I don't think they Mercy killed him. I think he just died. Toph's commentary of he was lying.
Right.
It pretty much said that.
But then once the Aang gang are out of the room, one of Jet's friends turns around and draws his bow.
Yeah, I've gone back this afternoon. I went back because I was curious. The creators have said Jet dies.
Mm-hmm.
It is off screen, but it seems pretty for sure. So
yes.
And then the other thing is that what's her face?
Jodie.
Jodie, it comes back in this one, doesn't she?
The original Jodie comes back, and we also see an entire room full of Jodies being created, not created, indoctrinated. That's the word I'm looking for.
Because now the kids know that there is brainwashing that happens in Ba Sing Se.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how you keep anyone from making trouble in Ba Sing Se.
It's effective.
Yep.
Boy, is it ever.
It had not occurred to me the appropriateness of discussing this arc right after our previous discussion.
Right.
Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. There is no war outside the walls.
Yeah.
Everything is fine here.
I do appreciate it that it opened a bit more lighthearted, though, because I like the idea of the bad drawings of Appa, and Toast just doesn't know how to hang signs properly. It's funny.
She can't see them. She doesn't know which side has the print on them.
I know. It's still, it's a good little lighthearted opening.
She makes a lot of blind jokes at her expense.
Yeah.
She is punching herself.
Yeah. I've really grown to like her character a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way that they animate her is also she's the most anime style character in this pseudo anime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it rolls pretty well into what the episode that wraps it up, which is the Earth King.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the Earth King is the kids battle Long Feng and the Dai Li when they attempt to show the Earth King the vast conspiracy taking place in his city. Meanwhile, Zuko becomes seriously ill and has feverish dreams as he faces a spiritual crisis.
Zuko.
So right off the bat, you can tell that this is almost the end of the season because they jam a lot of different things from a lot of different storylines into this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Not the least of which is the absolute adventure that they have to go on just to get pitch their stuff to the Earth King. They gotta get to him, they gotta fight these dudes off, and then they have to convince the Earth King that they're legitimate, they're unlike what Long Feng says, that they're trying to sabotage his reign. It's just all of these little hurdles that they have to keep going through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although we must give a quick shout out to the Earth King being voiced by the great Phil Lamar.
Yep.
It's always a good time when you hear Phil Lamar. Like you always know you're going to get a good show, good performance.
I don't recognize that actor, but okay.
You would.
You would. Yeah, you would. Futurama, Samurai Jack. I mean, yeah, he's.
Huh.
Yeah.
Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, he's one of the voice actors that when you bring him up to our friend Alicia, she loses her mind over and will flail and squeal for half an hour talking about every single character he's ever played and how much they mean to her.
Phil Lamar. So. Yeah. For me, Phil, I became aware of Phil Lamar because of Mad TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Phil Lamar is why, and I don't know why Warner Brothers still won't pull their head out and do this. Phil Lamar is why Jon Stewart is the Green Lantern for an entire, damn near 2 generations of DC fans. Because Justice League Unlimited, Jon Stewart is the Green Lantern as voiced by Phil Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yep.
It's why you have an entire generation that went, who the hell is Hal Jordan?
Yeah. You also recognize Phil Lamar if you enjoy the film Pulp Fiction because he gets his head blown off in the backseat.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Yeah, that's him. One of his very early roles, yeah. And if you live in Portland, you can see his blown out head at Movie Madness. They have the prop. So anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, back to his character. Earthing's kind of a dum-dum.
Oh yeah.
Like
he's
not just
a
figurehead, like they had already sort of the kids had already sort of inferred. It's just a full-on dum-dum.
He's also been kept away completely from the war. He didn't believe any of it. Like they take him on a train for the first time. He's like, what the hell is this? It's like, oh my God.
Extremely sheltered, which is I was about to say, I'm like, well, that's not a really good way to like make a ruler, but he's not really a ruler, so
nope.
Nope.
What else? So
meanwhile, Zuko is having fever dreams, and the way that it's explained is that what he's going through is by deciding to give up the blue spirit, he is now spiritually going through a crisis of identity.
I thought it was because he decided to free Appa instead of harming or killing him.
But that was part of it. Like, the shunning of the blue spirit identity was the final step in, like, he was presented with that choice, and by making a different choice than he normally does, that manifested as a physical, not illness, but malady in him.
Yeah, what Iroh specifically said is like, this is not a natural illness. There's a war between your mind and your body.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I don't know if it's just me, but every now and because the whole show is magic stuff, right? Everything about the show has like some level of mysticism to it.
Sure.
But every now and then I'm like, okay, now you're just doing magical Asian shit that you made up again.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one of those moments for me. I don't know about you guys, but
You talk about the dream sequence stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the whole like, well, you did something that's contrary to your nature, and so now there's this like magical war happening inside your body between who you think you are and who you are becoming.
Yeah, I don't know if I really needed it, but I did think visually it was cool.
I think that gets back into you. I think that that's for the younger audiences that this show was geared for in the first place. It's a way to show that it's a way to illustrate that this is how having an identity crisis can feel. you
thought you were gonna
might
say-
feel like you're physically out of sorts because you're trying to figure out who you are.
I thought you were going to say it was a way to sort of demonstrate that, like doing the right thing doesn't always feel very good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
All of those things. Again, subtlety doesn't work on us. We're a bunch of dum-dums.
We are all the Earth King.
We really are. We don't even get the cool bear.
Oh,
It's just a bear. It's just a bear. It's not a platypus bear. It's not a wolf bear. It's not a duck bear. It's just a bear.
Oh, bear. I mean, I don't want to say this episode was filler because it had to tie up a lot of loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
So we could get like, we're clearly getting into the final push for book 2. So like this one really had to do some heavy lifting, and yeah.
We only have 2 episodes left for this season.
Well, then definitely on the slow.
Yep.
Then we're definitely there.
And then after they finally are able to, convince the Earth King of what's really going on, and they determine that Long Fang is clearly a bad dude who's been manipulating things behind the scenes. A new sort of up top charge guy shows up, General Hao, and he is like, Long Fang had all this shit he was hiding from everybody, including like information about the water tribe / Sokka and Katara's dad are, which is not super far. The letter from the guru that that he had attached to Appa's horn, and a letter from Toph's mom. And so now everyone in the party has is about to achieve some level of wish fulfillment, journey, achievement, and no one wants to wait for their things, so they decide to split the party.
The classic RPG blunder, splitting the party.
And they talked about like how logistically to do it, and they're like, you know what? No, let's just each go do our thing, and then we'll circle back later. Only and it all goes bad.
Almost immediately.
Immediately. Toph's mom, when she goes to meet her, was actually the bounty hunters. Oh shoot, I can't remember who stays back. Katara stays in Ba Sing Se, right, to help them prepare against the Fire Nation. And then they believe that Kyoshi warriors are about to show up, but it turns out to be the mean fire girls.
The mean fire girls. Yep.
Yeah. I'm sticking with that one. And then that general that was so fucking helpful, we see him going into the prison or the dungeon, wherever they kick Long Fang, and we get to find out that that guy's actually, and the whole Dai Li are still loyal to Long Fang. So that was all an act, which probably explains why all these misleads occurred.
Yeah.
So yeah, now it just seems like everything's lined up for like the big conflict to end the season.
Yep, that's about right.
Yep.
Not a lot of lessons or messaging there, except for never split the party.
Never.
Or
you will be punished.
And yet, what happened? What happened?
Well, from there, should we go to a galaxy far, far away?
I think we should.
Yeah, so obviously we'll be jumping around, but there will be spoilers for Obi-Wan Kenobi, although I feel like if you listen to this show, you have watched that show.
Yeah, you watched it live. You didn't stock up and wait and go,
Right.
I'll wait till it's done and watch it all at once.
Yeah, the Venn diagram is just a circle with the 2 shows overlapping. For me, started a little slow, picked up steam around episode 3 for me, and then it really got going.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm going to jump to the last episode because I feel like I'm still processing a lot of that. I didn't expect the final confrontation between Obi-Wan and Vader, to be that violent,
Mhm.
and then that emotional with Deborah Chow like emotionally nailed that scene. I've kind of like her action scenes haven't always been that great in Kenobi. They felt like they kind of missed that kinetic energy until that last fight. Then it was like no holds barred.
Which kind of makes it feel like it was on purpose.
Yeah. I like that this Kenobi is still dealing with the trauma of, everything.
Mhm.
Not just like, oh, we lost. No, like everything. Everyone ever close to him has been wiped out by the Empire, or as far as he knows. Like he knows Yoda's in hiding, but it's not like he's using the Force and talking to his little green buddy.
Mhm.
But there's a moment. I've revisited this scene like over and over again. I've like been super nerdy and breaking it down. But that moment when Kenobi realizes I have to probably kill Vader in that fight. It's not. It's funny that like Kenobi in A New Hope is like calls a lightsaber a more civilized weapon, for a more elegant whatever for an elegant weapon for
Mhm.
civilized age, where he's flat out savage on Vader. Like the first thing he goes for is that chest plate, just
Mhm.
and there's no subtlety to it. He just slams on it. And then we get that broken face mask, which we'll get a few years later with Ahsoka again. Spoilers. Um, so first off, there's so many things there. Like Hayden Christensen fucking killed it in that scene. I thought.
Considering he had this much to work with,
Yeah.
that was an effective acting job by him.
I read somewhere that he watched all of Clone Wars in preparation for this role.
He did.
It totally shows.
I think is fantastic because that's the greatest takeaway from Clone Wars is that it really fleshes out his arc and why he makes the decisions that he does between one movie, like from going from episode 2 to 3. It's not great by itself. And then you when you put in everything that happens in the Clone Wars and all of the different experiences that he has and the feelings that he has about those experiences, it makes a lot more sense. And that provided a much more fleshed out basis for him.
Yeah, for sure. Huge kudos to the sound team that mixed the Vader voice with Anakin's voice when he was talking. That sent chills down my spine. That was so well done. Even though it's clearly just meant to be like a glitch in his suit, the dramatic, like the dramatic punch that gave was just fucking chef's kiss. And then the lighting in that scene, like the lightsabers lit up their faces more than any lightsaber ever has. Like blue for Obi-Wan, red for Vader.
Because we live in an age where the technology is such that they were using lightsabers that actually light up. They weren't using swords wrapped in retroreflective tape.
Right.
Like, so those are the actual lights on them. Like which is fascinating.
Yeah, and I love how they then got to play with that. Like when Vader's talking, it's all red. Like he's bathed in red. And it cuts to Obi-Wan, and again, Obi-Wan has that moment of like, I failed you. This is all my fault. And I love it when it cuts back to Vader, and there's some red, but you see Obi-Wan's saber reflecting Anakin's face in blue. And you get Hayden Christensen's voice. It's that he says like, and this is not, to me, I don't feel like this is Vader talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is Anakin talking to his friend Ben and saying, you did not kill me. And then you see that little bit of red hint in, and he says, "I killed me."
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting for that some version of that.
I'm getting a chill
line.
talking about it. Yeah.
Well, because it ties in with something
New
that
Hope.
people had a big problem with in A New Hope is like, oh yeah, no, your father was killed by a Sith Lord. It's exactly how you kind of close that loop.
Mm-hmm.
But they still did a good job of making it emotional.
Yeah, and there's even more like subtle lighting. Like again, when Anakin says that line, Vader, all the red light comes back to him, but you see little bits of purple and blue, which is that reference to like Luke believing like, no, there's still good in him. And that's like there's Anakin's still there, buried deep down. And it cuts to Obi-Wan when he realizes that his friend is gone. It's fucking Darth Vader. Vader's lightsaber illuminates Obi-Wan even more, with just a little bit of blue being cast off Ben's own saber. I'm not saying it's a subtle approach at all, but it was really fucking effective.
No, I think it all like worked together really well. Like you said, like the voice blending and fluctuating, and then the lighting and the setting that that kind of allows for that kind of lighting to make sense. All of it ties together well.
Yeah. Just that last episode for me was just masterfully done. I mean, and because I think a lot of it paid off. I don't know about you two. Like, I really, really want to see something with Reva now, like after this episode.
I would be fine seeing Moses and Grimm reprise Reva in any of the current shows.
Well, do we know what era the Acolyte takes place in? The Sith-centric show?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't aware that there was a Sith-centric show.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I think I just saw 13.
It's being developed. Okay, then it's way before. That's Battle of Yavin. Okay, then it's not going to be Reva.
Yeah, I know that where Boba Fett and Mandalorian are taking place are a good 15 years after the end of Kenobi. Because we've got at least 15 to 20.
Than that. We've got another 10 years until A New Hope.
Yeah, and then from A New Hope to Jedi, and then after Jedi, that's
3.5 to 4 years.
Yep.
And then
wait, no, we have
5
7 years until A New Hope.
10. Because Leia and Luke are 9, and they're 19.
No, they're 10.
They're 10.
Okay, then we have 9 years then.
Oh, and they're 19 in that. Okay, I can never remember. I knew it's somewhere between 17 and 19.
They're supposed to be 19, and then you got roughly 4 years of the Galactic Civil War. So we got 13 years, and then Mandalorian, Boba Fett is 5 years after Jedi, so almost 20.
What? I misread that, but this can't be right. It says the Acolyte is supposed to be 132 BBY. That's
so that puts it in that puts it in Old Republic.
Yeah.
So
that's what I meant. Like that, it can't be Reva.
Right. No, yeah, that statement still stands. I'm just like, we don't have anything that goes that far back, do we?
Yeah.
On screen?
Again, no.
On screen, no.
That is where it gets into the Old Republic stuff. Yeah. When does Knights of the Old Republic take place? Isn't it like 1,000 years before?
No, I only think it's about 300.
Oh, okay.
The High Republic, which is the new thing right now, is like 1,000 years before.
Okay, got it.
Which, by the way, if you're not reading some of those High Republic comics or books, they're actually pretty fun. They're pretty good. You see the Jedi doing what you always kind of thought the Jedi should do to help the people. Like, it's just not at all about like politics and like, oh, the Sith have risen up again. It's like, hey, there's this like galactic natural disaster that's going to make this star go nova. you folks with the Force, maybe you could do something to help with that. And there's other things too, but it's kind of neat. Yeah. Yeah, Reva could show up in any of the stuff that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's God, it's always, and jump in, you guys, whenever. I'm just yammering. So if you have thoughts, like, cut my ass off. I think it's probably because I like the actor so much, but every time I see Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa, I get really bummed out. I know Bail Organa is going to die. And he just, I don't know why, like, I love his portrayal of Bail Organa so much that it actually makes the destruction of Alderaan far more emotional for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is also the first time we've ever seen Alderaan.
Is that true?
In live action. I think we may have seen Alderaan in the Clone Wars, but this is the first live action glimpse of Alderaan. We see Alderaan for the first time on. Well,
in our history, the first time
you see it quickly in Revenge of the Sith, but that's about it.
Oh, do we? Okay.
I feel like you do, like, really fast, like.
Then I'm wrong. That's fine.
But I think it's only like a wide shot. I think. Yeah. I mean, that's it. Yeah, I like it.
That's another one of those things. Like Cable and I, we had that conversation not too long ago about all the what if stuff. The first time Alderaan ever is mentioned is when it's destroyed. It's another one of those throwaway things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys, what was your kind of like thoughts on how they like wrapped it up or what?
I think I overall enjoyed the series. I wasn't quite like it took me a minute after the first episode to go, what is the direction of the show? And then realizing, oh, right, I'm not getting the Kenobi that I met in the third season of Rebels. Who like could take down Darth Maul in 3 moves because he had so clearly been doing nothing but training and had honed his skill and become the ultimate Jedi.
Well, and also, if you ever watched the Duel of the Fates side by side, so the move that Maul uses is the same move he used to kill Qui-Gon. So fucking Obi-Wan knows that that's Maul's like go-to jam. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Sorry.
But the like, you know, the opening episode shows us is like, oh, that's not this Obi-Wan. This is, I've renounced the Force. I've got PTSD. I'm depressed. I killed my best friend. Right. I don't know anything about what's going on in the rest of the universe. That was the Kenobi that we got. And it's like, oh, right. This is 10 years earlier. So he's a complete fucking wreck.
Yeah.
He's halfway to becoming old Ben. Alec Guinness. Oh, you mean old Ben?
Yep. That the reveal of when he finds out that Anakin is Darth Vader, that was so painful. Like, it was great. It was great to watch, but it was also like, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah.
It's gotta hurt a lot.
Yeah. Also, like, I didn't get why in the beginning everyone was freaking out that Reva knew that Anakin was Darth Vader. They're like, that goes against canon. No one knows. Like, I immediately just thought, oh, she was a youngling. I don't know how she survived the attack on the temple. He either took her in or something else. But if she's one of the only people to survive the younglings to survive the attack on the temple, of course she fucking knows that it's the same dude.
The one that made less sense to me is when after, Darth Vader doesn't kill her, but he's like, I always fucking knew who you were. You were never gonna, get the one up on me. then she goes straight after Luke. How does she know about Luke?
Because she intercepts the communication from Bail Organa.
What
Yeah.
was in that? What was in the message?
The message was about the kid on Tatooine.
Oh, okay.
And then she just goes looking for like, hey, do you guys know a couple farmers that are raising a kid? Kind of thing.
I must have completely forgotten that from one week to the next, because
Also-
I do remember that Chekhov's ill-advised telecommunication. But then I was like, how does she fucking know to go after Luke?
Speaking of that, can we just talk about the fact that apparently if you give Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru 30 minutes to get ready, they will fuck you up.
Well, they are farmers.
Like Aunt Beru's got like a blaster shotgun.
Yeah,
I really appreciated that she was the one that's like, oh no, we gotta fucking hold this shit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first. That was the glimpse of like, we don't know anything about Beru or Owen. We know more about Owen than we do Beru.
A little bit more,
A
yeah.
little bit more. That also, even though their ending is bad, it also makes me think that when the stormtroopers came to the Lars homestead, they didn't just drag their asses out and start burning them. Like, in my now new headcanon, Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen took down some motherfuckers before, like, the garrison. Like, really? 2 old-ass moisture farmers are doing this to us? All right, fuck it. Like, send in a walk. It's like, yeah, get the E-web out.
Yeah, that
Like,
makes
in
more
my
sense
brain,
now.
like, that's a much more, like, drop-down fucking dirty fucking the Wild Bunch fight scene than it's shown in A New Hope. And I'm there for that.
This entire series does give a lot more not on screen backstory to, oh, okay, that's what happened. Like it does the same thing for things that it did put on screen. Like like when it was just A New Hope, or when it was just the first 3, the original trilogy, we just got hinted at whatever Vader and Kenobi's last battle was.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Revenge of the Sith came out, it's like, oh, that's the one they reference. Nah.
No.
It's this fight. And that means, like, that changes that whole scene in A New Hope now. It's like, Ben already knew he could have beaten him.
Oh, yeah, Ben willingly dies in A New Hope.
Mm-hmm. But that has a lot more impact
true.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Although, speaking of that fight, let's talk about the first fight. Can we talk about how much of a petty little jackass Vader can be? I'm not going to hit you with a saber. I'm not going to let stormtroopers gun you down. I'm going to light a fire and just drag your ass. This is what you did to me. Granted, I don't know why when that fire was put out and then a new fire started, why Vader couldn't. Other than he's just a dramatic little motherfucker.
He is.
Yes.
Darth Vader is a drama queen.
Yes.
I say this every time we bring it up.
Let us not forget the final scene
Remember
of Rogue
what a
One.
whiny little shithead he was before becoming Darth Vader. Now he has like fully realized his Force potential, hates fucking everyone, and is like half a robo suit.
And I love that thing that's referenced at the end of A New Hope when he's standing like in space with that blown open door with the stormtroopers, and people are like, there's no wind in space. That means Vader is using the Force to make his cape billow. Because of course he is.
Mm-hmm. He lives on the planet that his limbs were cut off and he was set on fire. He built his fucking castle there.
That's right. I can see the Empire's like, do you want us to build like a stormtrooper garrison? No. I want a castle. Well, but there's Imperial specs. I want a castle over the lava pit
Mustafar,
where I died.
Yeah, no,
Palpatine, Sheev Palpatine created an elaborate long-term con, starting with getting the preteen elected queen of the planet that he's from kidnapped, and then like rode that all the way to becoming Emperor Palpatine. He understands dramatic flair. He
That's
indulges Vader in every dramatic win that he has.
Yeah. Until the very end. I do
Yep.
love that Vader's like, I will fucking hunt down Kenobi. And the Emperor's basically like, yeah.
You sure?
You sure about that? Pretty sure that's not my vision. And Vader's like, you're right.
I'm good. We're good.
I'm good. Again, in my head canon, like Palpatine, well, I didn't even have to do it, but in my head, I could see Palpatine just, force choking him just a little bit. Being like, I'm on the other side of the galaxy, and I'm a hologram right now. Like, you, apprentice. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yep.
It's fun stuff. That was a good Star Wars.
It was a good Star Wars.
Yeah.
I did not think I was going to enjoy it before it started. Until I realized that it wasn't going to be all about Luke. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm into this.
Yeah. I was more interested in just seeing Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan again. Like, that's why I was there for. So when they gave us that twist that it's not Luke, it's Leia, I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Now I'm really interested.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be like, just like super actiony. And I'm like, that's fine. I want Obi-Wan pathos. And in the end, that is what we got.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy. I was much more satisfied with what we got than what I thought we were going to get. So I'm happy to have been wrong about that.
That's fair.
And again, this is a bit more probably reading into it meta and stuff. I feel like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series also kind of subtly hints at why Ben Kenobi in A New Hope is pretty open and quick to trust Han Solo with getting them there, because he's already had to trust a liar and a trickster and a scoundrel with the life of a child.
Mm-hmm.
At that end, when Hodge is like, I mean, if you can accept the word of a ex-fake Jedi and cheat and liar, and Obi-Wan's like, I can now. Like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. That's why when he meets like Han Solo, he's like, yeah, this guy, he's like, this guy's a total scam artist, but he'll get us there.
Yeah. No, I hadn't really thought about that. I was more focused on, like you were saying earlier, Cable, like his final showdown with Darth Vader not only makes a lot more sense, but is more powerful once you know that that's them meeting as elder users of the Force. Like they're up there in years, and they've both seen a lot of shit, and they know that this is the last time for them. One of them, they've already had their knockdown, drag out fight where they, where it was where it was personal.
Mm-hmm. I would like to point out, though, that even though we say they're elder statesmen and they're up in years, Kenobi's in his 50s when he dies.
I know.
Vader is in his 40s. So
that's some hard living on Tatooine. Tatooine is not easy on people.
Yeah, that's the only way I can get behind the fact that, like, Ewan McGregor today, Alec Guinness in A New Hope, it's only 9 years difference. I'm like, desert living.
Ewan McGregor is 50.
I know, he looks fucking great. He doesn't look anywhere close to looking like Alec Guinness did.
Nope. I think Alec Guinness was in his 50s when he shot
No,
that.
he was in his 60s.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Yeah. But, again, they had not established how old is Obi-Wan Kenobi. No, he's just some old wonk in the desert with with a mystical background. I'm sure that the idea was that he was supposed to be a much older man, and then they didn't really factor that in when they did casting for episode 1.
Look, when they were casting like fucking Alec Guinness, what's that whole thing? There was that whole thing on Twitter when people were trying to we're being stunned by the ages of sitcom actors that we grew up with. Like how
Mm-hmm.
at the peak of All in the Family, the actor who played Archie Bunker was only like 48. And you're like, what the fuck? Everyone must remember, everyone smoked indoors. There was lead in everything, and there was like no smog control. Like
Mm-hmm.
human bodies were wrecked until about the 90s when we're like, we should probably stop allowing this shit.
I believe the one that gets people the most is when you go, Wilford Brimley was the age that Wilford Brimley was in Cocoon is the same age that Tom Cruise was in the last Mission Impossible, which is
I
to say
think
they were both in their early 50s.
I I think like Mission Impossible 4, like
Mission Impossible 4.
an even older one, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, your point
But
is not lost.
I think
Yes, the
that's when that
Wilford Brimley
meme came
line.
out. Yeah.
That's right, the Brimley line.
Yeah. But then you look at a lot of other things he's done. It's like Wilford Brimley looked like he was 65 for 30 years.
Also,
Yeah.
that, yeah, I think he came out of the womb an old man with diabetes.
Oh, Brimley.
Yep. Oh, man.
I want to see him as a Jedi. But
Mm.
only if we get bad Cajun accent hard target Wilford Brimley.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
No. Oh, no. No.
Fucking gloriously riding on the back of a horse, shooting terrorists with a bow and arrow with explosions in the background. That's
No, but
art.
There's
That's
no
I
horses in
have-
Star Wars, first of all.
I'm pretty sure I actually saw that in the theater and have blanked out most of that from my memory.
You saw it the same reason I did. It was John Woo's first U.S. movie.
That is why I did go see it.
Every trailer was like from the director of The Killers and Hard Target. John Woo
Mhm.
comes to America. And at the
Hard
time, Von
boiled.
Damme was Hard Target's what he did.
Mhm.
And at the time, Von Damme was kind of a big deal. And if you were an Aliens or Terminator fan, you loved Lance Henriksen. Like,
Mhm.
it pushed all them great geek buttons. You had to go.
I did go more for Lance Henriksen than I did Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, I did too. I wasn't a big Van Damme fan.
No, neither was I.
But you give me John Woo and Lance Henriksen, I'm going to that movie.
Mhm. Oof.
What's your name, Chance? My mama took one. Fuck, I'm gonna watch Hard Target as soon as I can find where it's streaming.
Probably IMDb TV for free.
I'll find it. It's on Tubi. Crackle.
Tubi. Yep.
Aw.
Worth it. Yeah, Kenobi was fun. I don't know what else we can drink.
Jesus.
I'm out of water.
I don't think we have anything else.
No.
Please
Next
keep.
week. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, please keep watching Ms. Marvel. I'm sure we'll cover that when we come back.
Yeah. Boy, that's a charming as hell show.
And
I
Strange
would-
New World. It's not too late.
Strange New Worlds has 2 episodes left. 3 episodes left. 3 episodes left. They just did episode 7. They're doing 10
Oh,
episodes.
8, 9, 10. Never mind. Yeah.
Yep. 8, 9, 10. I did the same math the other day.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's only 2 episodes left. There's 8, 9, 10. Duh. Cable.
Yeah. I do believe the next one is Gorn again.
Is that the name of the episode?
No, but I think because
it really should be now.
Akiva had mentioned when he got interviewed by Will Wheaton a few weeks ago, Will's like, have we seen the last of the Gorn this season? He goes, no.
Akiva has a very shitty poker face.
That's why I don't think he tries to hide it. He just, says what he says. And
I'll just say this. When I was a younger geek and more more vicious in my commentary about things, I was not a big fan of Akiva Goldsman. I felt like he was an example of people who failed upwards. And there are things in his IMDb that's like, nope, that's hot garbage, and you know it.
Yes.
And you laughed all the way to the bank.
He has the face of someone who fails upward.
But the interviews I've seen him give about Star Trek, it's like, oh, you've been one of us the whole time. You've been actively trying to get to a point where you could play in this universe, and now that you are, you're doing everything you can to get it right.
Yeah.
And he doesn't always, but he keeps trying.
No,
And-
sometimes you get the Da Vinci Code or Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you get A Beautiful Mind or Practical Magic.
Yep.
And
So
then you get Transformers The Last Night. I mean, look.
Oh, he did that Dark Tower movie that nobody watched.
mm-hmm. But
Norm, I don't think we're going to actually see full body Gorn. Well, actually, we can't because Kirk's the first one to see what the Gorn look like.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's much like the Romulans.
Yeah.
Like you can't show what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
The fantasy episode, the fairy tale episode from last week was
fucking A.
I think Merrick put it best where she's like, you have a cast full of drama kids. And you said, what if we gave you an episode where you could live out every drama kid dream? And then they did.
I could
Is that true? Is the cast all a bunch of like theater people?
I mean, they're actors.
Okay. Well, you said a cast full of theater nerds, as though to imply that that's not common. The way I inferred it, anyway.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I could watch Anson Mount be a slimy, sniveling little toady with the worst hair, which is kind of great considering he has the best
hair. Yep. The episode was great. I didn't know that
Ortegas and Una as their fantasy versions. Like, are you too close? And I love Ortegas. Oh yeah. We're close. We're like, I was perfectly happy with this being just a classic. You know what? Trek's gonna get fucking goofy, and they're gonna wear period clothing, and no one's gonna be in character except for one person who knows what's going on. In this case, too. Mm-hmm. I was not ready for like the last 8 minutes to be like, oh, were you having fun? Here comes the gut punch. You're like, oh, you sons of bitches. I mean, good job, but how dare?
Yep.
It does tie up a weird, I don't know that loose end is the right way to phrase it, but
no, but it gives closure to a storyline that was going to end badly.
Yes, it does. Like there's like so much potential for heartbreak there, and he wasn't getting the answers, the resources that he needed, and so this does end up being like a much more positive, if still difficult, heartbreaking for him ending.
It's I'm sad I won't see her anymore because I love her, but I'm happy because she's not going to die.
And he gets to see her one more time, and to in a way that allows him to know that it was the right choice for her.
Yeah,
which was clearly a smart move on the for the writers to make, because that would have bugged people. Like giving that immediate closure, it's like, we're not going to circle back to the storyline again. Here is everything that you need to know. It's like, cool.
Right.
Now we as the viewers and the character of M'Benga can move forward.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit, in that way, it's a little bit reminiscent also of that Deep Space Nine episode where
The Visitor?
No. Oh, kind of like The Visitor. I hadn't thought about that one. I was thinking of the one where the daughter oh my god, names. All of the names have fallen out of my head.
Keiko and Miles' daughter? Molly?
Yes, Molly, thank you. That there's an episode where she like gets aged up for some through some like bizarre,
falls through a space-time rift, ends up in prehistoric Bajor. When they get the rift open again, an 18-year-old Molly comes out of the rift. So,
yeah,
and the ending to that is that Molly realizes that she needs to go back. She goes back through the rift, but goes back to the point in time when child Molly went through the rift and sends child Molly back, thus erasing her from existence.
Mm.
Because she
maybe
knew,
not that much like that episode, but
Yeah.
but kind of like
Kind of, yeah.
sort of that fast forwarding part.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the concept of this being that is beyond our comprehension, finding a kindred spirit in the daughter, and being able to go, oh, cool. You want to be a spatial entity with me, and we can just do stuff. And it's like, yeah, it's like you just saw me seconds ago, but I've been gone for
Yeah.
a while.
And then that episode has the most glorious Easter egg ever, that the book Mbenga reads is written by fucking Benny Russell.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really that's a really good deep cut from another like really powerful episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good stuff, man. And we know Mbenga has a great career because I think by TNG there is the Mbenga Medical Institute.
Oh, is there? Cool.
Yeah, I think it's referenced a few times. Yeah.
He probably discovers the treatment or cure for whatever his daughter had, and probably just kept working on it even though she was fine.
Yeah. And then I am such a dork that in high school, when I used to draw up my own Starfleet ships and create fictional backstories of each one's model and design, I created the Mbenga class medical frigates.
Of course you did.
Yeah. They were cool.
I'll bet.
No life. Well, should we wrap up the show?
Yeah.
Wrap it up on no life.
And we'll see everyone in a month.
Yeah, you're getting new content every week still.
You'll see us, but no, you won't see us.
You won't see us. You'll hear us.
I mean, you might see us around town, but not here on this platform.
Correct. You'll see us out there among the stars.
Okay. But you will hear us. You will hear us every week, as per usual.
Yep.
With some fun new content.
Yeah. Indeed.
Well, with that, I'm Aaron Duran.
I'm Bean Rita.
And I am Cable Hashitani.
We'll speak to everybody in a month. Bye.